Christians want to take action. Now, there's a ray of sunshine, right? We've all been beat down for these first three. It's like, oh, we're horrible. We'll never escape. Okay? Christians want to take action. Barna says, among Christians, interest in participating in community action is escalating. Thank you. Somebody's doing something right. Barna writes, largely driven by the passion and energy of young adults, Christians are more open to and more involved in community service activities than has been true in the recent past. All right. While we remain more self-indulgent than self-sacrificing, the expanded focus on justice and service has struck a chord with many. However, despite the increasing emphasis, churches run the risk of watching congregants' engagements wane unless they embrace a strong spiritual basis for such service, which is kind of what I was talking about in the last point. Simply doing good works because it's the socially esteemed choice of the moment will not produce much staying power. Okay, what does this mean? Well, a couple of things. I think one of the things that Barna is recognizing is that there is a shift even in culture, even in secular culture, especially among the youth, to have meaning and purpose in life. And I think the kids in the church want that as well. I think they're tired of the pizza parties. I think they want to go out and do something. Now, a lot of that do something may be save the environment, may be, paint over graffiti. All that stuff is fine. I don't have any problem with that. I think what's really going on is the youth of today has looked at moral relativism that's been shoved down their throats for the past 20 years and found it bankrupt. When you stand for nothing, when you're a wishy-washy kind of, everything's okay, nobody can stomach that guy. And I think the youth of today are saying, doggone it, I want some boundaries. If you've ever raised a child, you give them boundaries. You tell them they can go this far and no farther. Now, again, you push them a little bit because you want them to grow. A child who's learning how to walk, he falls down, you pick him back up again. But you're always there underneath him. You don't let him walk out the door. You keep him in the confines of the living room and you take away all the sharp objects, So there's boundaries and they're stretching within those boundaries, but they understand because there's a security factor there and that you really want them to grow, that there's a reason why you're pushing them. What the secular world has told the nation is that it's ollie oxen free. There is no right and wrong. That's right for you. This is right for him, right? That's what we hear all the time. And I think the youth of today are just sick of it. They're saying, I want to stand for something. If everybody's okay, if everybody gets the medal, then the medal means nothing, right? If everybody's most improved, then nobody's most improved. So I think the church has a unique opportunity to do good things in their community, to do things that have a positive impact for the people that we want to witness to and bring to church, for those closest to us. The church needs to get involved in the local community. It's great to send missionaries off to Africa. But if our city needs help, we should be helping our city too. However, we need to do so in the love of Jesus and through a Christian worldview. In other words, we need to reflect the fact that our motivation is not so that we live in a nicer house. We don't paint over the graffiti because we live in a nicer house. We paint over the graffiti because we see ourselves as an individual who serves the society. See, do not think of one another as more important than yourself, or do not think of yourself as more important than one another. I'm sorry, that's the way Paul said it, right? You place the society ahead of yourself. This is probably the biggest shift in the cultural norms that I've seen, and it's really happened over the past 50 years. It's not something that's fairly new. In the 1930s and 1940s, people understood that individuals were there to succeed, but if the community failed, the individuals would fail along with it, which meant that the town drunk was reviled because he was not only not contributing to society, but he was actually detracting from it. He was pulling resources away, We had to deal with him. We have to medicate him. We have to, he's using up resources that other people who may truly be hurt or such could use. And so that's why it wasn't cute to be the town drunk. We didn't just call it an illness back then. Now, do I think that alcoholism, needs to be dealt with? Absolutely. But as J.P. Moreland said, it was amazing to him how people would stand up and cheer the pregnant girl who was walking through the graduation line. We shouldn't cheer that action. The family should be supportive of a girl who gets in trouble. I mean, I'm not going to throw her to the, out into the utter darkness. But we've lost a sense of shame in our culture. We've lost a sense of shame. That sense of shame was there to protect the community, because as the community becomes me-focused, then the society breaks apart, and all you have is a group of individuals. So we need to practice missional acts of community involvement. The church has a unique opportunity for doing good things in the community. They can have the positive impact on those closest to the church itself. In his book, Alvin J. Schmidt wrote a wonderful book, How Christianity Changed the World. He notes that it was Christians who fought against infanticide. Christians opposed the gladiatorial games and began the first hospitals and orphanages. Why did they do this? Was it so that they had a place to go when they were sick? No, it actually, for the most part, was worse on them economically. If you imagine, protesting against the Super Bowl. Okay, the gladiatorial games were a big deal in Rome, and they didn't get a whole lot of those opportunities. And that's what Christians were doing. They were saying, this is madness. Matter of fact, I believe it's in 404 AD, one of the bishops stood in the center of the ring and said, these people are made in the image of God. This must stop. And he was summarily run through with the sword. But his death caused such an uproar that within 10 years, all gladiatorial games were banned in Rome. He gave his life not because he was trying to make his own life better, but he understood that individuals reflected the image of God, and therefore they needed to be respected as such. We are besmirching God's name when we take on these kinds of tasks. You see, the people saw Jesus sacrificed himself for them, just like we read in Philippians, and that they should then sacrifice themselves for others, thus reflecting their Lord's love of all people. They sought to be like Jesus. So given that, we see the youth of today wanting to get involved, wanting to have meaning in life. What better meaning is there than to reflect the desires of the God of the universe, the one with whom we have to do, the one who created us? Let's give them that. Let's get involved in our community, but let's do so with the understanding and the goal that we are reflecting Jesus and his desires so that our community would be better representative of what he would have us treat each other today. Okay, there are many local rescue missions who reach out to the homeless who do this same kind of thing. You can look at the AGRM site for organizations. You can call a local crisis pregnancy center. Heartline is the local pregnancy center here, and Harvest supports it. They're a wonderful organization. You can help volunteer with them. Maybe it's merely telling a single mother that you'll babysit her 18-month-old while she goes to the doctor, or whatever the case may be. It may not always be, taking the 14-year-old girl into the back room and telling her why she shouldn't have an abortion. There are crisis pregnancy centers do a whole lot more than that. But you can engage. These are community things that you can do. Whatever outreach you involve yourself, make sure there's a Christian organization with an orthodox statement of faith. Again, we don't want to just do works to do works. I think we want to reflect God's love and his will there. The church office may be able to give you some recommended names, but you'll make sure that you're not only ministering to their physical needs, but you're ministering to their spiritual needs as well. And you know what? Once you're established, couldn't hurt to invite an unsaved friend to go with you. And, hey, come help me out for an hour. Watch what I do. So what do you do there why do you have to leave early every Thursday night? Oh, I volunteer down here at this shelter place. Come on, let me show you what it means. See, you're being missional, you're being outreaching, you're showing people that you want to improve the community, that you want to love people but you want to do it for more than merely your own benefit.